Life in Western Kenya can be hard. While we may spend time perusing a menu to select a meal, these Kenyans spend their days working at whatever job they can to find the most basic foods to survive. A dry season and drought add to the challenges. But in the midst, children learn, play, and thrive at a school sponsored by Village Project Africa.
From the very beginning, it was like my heart was full of love for them, and I didn't even know them. But I knew God had poured in my life love for these children.
In Makatano, life can indeed be hard. Jonas Ipa knows firsthand.
I've never been able to go to school and learn to read. Neither has my wife.
Without schooling, his 12 children will likely end up working in the fields or looking for work each day as he does. But he and his wife had great hopes for one of their sons.
We had a big problem because our son Ipa went to another school and there were school fees, which we could not afford to pay. And he was sent home from school.
One day I heard about Heritage. My heart was telling me to go to the school. I walked over there and I saw how the students were playing outside and reading inside, and my heart went out to that kind of learning.
It took Jonas an hour to walk from his home to Heritage Academy. At the gate, he spoke with the director, Davis Otieno.
Jambo mzee? Habari ya leo? Tukusaidie namna gani?
My father went to the principal and asked for a chance.
At this time, we don't have any openings, but let's pray that God will give him a chance in the future.
Asante.
Thank you.
And because Ipa was older, we didn't know what exactly to do.
It was challenging because Ipa was a teenager and yet was reading only at a second grade level. Despite the initial rejection, Ipa's father came back 4 times in the next year to plead for his son's acceptance.
James Ipa. Nataka mtoto asome hapa. Oh, karibu sana.
We went and talked to the headmaster, and we did what he told us to do.
My father came home and told me there was a chance at the school and I should go there. And so I went the next day.
He believed that getting to Heritage would get the family out of poverty and the children would be able to get an education.
So my happiness is overwhelming. I'm very happy that there's no problem with his education now that he's at Heritage.
My name is Ewe Ipa. When I grow up, I like to be a police so that I maintain law and order in the country.
In 1983, my husband David and I came out here with a music group from Anderson University, and I fell in love with Kenya that trip. I love the villages, I love the city, but most of all, I love the people. In 2005, David and I brought a group of friends out to Africa. When we got to Kenya, I noticed David was acting a bit strange. He was not tracking our conversations. So on the flight home, I said to David, "Something's not right." And David said to me, "Yes, I've got a brain tumor and I'm going to die in 6 months." He never knew what he had said to me. I don't know where that came from, but that's exactly what he had. After his death, I was pondering what I should do next. I was so comfortable in Kenya that I decided, okay, I'm going to go to Kenya for a few weeks. The grief counselor said, "You are just running away." Relatives said, "Why don't you go on a cruise instead?" Nobody understood what it was like to be alone, because it had been a long time, 45 years. So I started volunteering at a Church of God school near Lake Victoria. Davis Otieno was a student at KIST, which is the Bible college where I was volunteering. Davis came to me soon after I arrived and he said, "We have a project in our village. We're working with the widows and orphans."
She accepted God's calling to come out in this village and help the widows of Makutano.
We went to the Church of God, and there was his mother, the pastor, Mama Mary, and the other widows working there. When the widows kept telling us over and over we needed to educate their children, we started a preschool with children 3, 4, 5. Some of our children were older because they'd never been to school. And Davis made friends with a businessman, and he loaned us his land and a mud house on that land for us to start the school. So we opened one room in a mud building, and he called and said, "Well, the first day we've got 50 children." And I was horrified. I said, 50 children in this small room. It was about 10 by 13, and they had one teacher and one helper. And I said, "Oh, Davis, there's too many preschoolers in a room. Ask Richard if you can build a second room onto his house." And so we built a second room, and 50 more children came. So we asked Richard if we could build a third room so we could divide that 100 kids into 3 rooms, and 50 more children came. We had 150 children on a small piece of land in 3 mud classrooms. And I said, "Okay, I get it. There's going to be 50 kids in a room. We will just deal with it." Those children were so lethargic when they first came to our school, and we hired a doctor to come and check them to find out what medical issues they had. They were malnourished, they had parasites, they had HIV, they were sickly children. So at the very beginning, we said we're going to have to open a clinic and hire a nurse to be available all the time to treat these children. And those children were all hungry. How are they going to learn on an empty stomach? So we needed to become a bit self-sustaining. We grow kale, cabbage, and we have 2 greenhouses where we're growing tomatoes. And we sent our first group to the government school. They were the top class in the whole area. We had taught them well.
As the preschool children grew, so did Heritage Academy, expanding to include primary classes, middle school, and a high school. The students' success continues today, with test scores typically in the top 20% of the entire country and national recognition for Heritage's music program. Still, there are frequent reminders of the challenges that students face.
We thought we had taken care of every child in our school that was really hungry. But when Sandra interviewed Alex Juma, she asked him what he needed, and he said, "We don't have enough food at my house." And she said, "Well, if you're hungry, then let's put you down to move into the dorm, and then you'll get 3 meals a day and you'll be taken care of." He said, "No, I cannot move into the dorm. I have to be at home to take care of my mother. She's in a wheelchair." And she was living on one of our other family's compounds. They had given her their cookhouse, which means it's a room about 8 by 8. There's one door, no windows, and it's where they cook. And this is where this mother and 5 children were living. Our hearts were broken for this family. We could not even imagine what it was like to be this young child with such responsibility. The next day, Davis and I were traveling to a village nearby called Turbo, and it's a village 12 miles from our school one way. I'm telling you, these are dirt roads with rocks and holes, and they're not easy to travel in a car. And about 30 minutes after we were down that road, we both were stunned.
We see Alex, his little sister, and Elizabeth, the mama.
There was Alex pushing his mother, with the little sister walking beside him. I just nearly burst into tears. I can't tell you the emotions that were going through me as I'm watching this child push his mother down this dirt road.
Margaret instructed me to stop, and we picked them up and asked them where they were going.
We were taking charcoal to Turbo to trade for things we could sell back here in the village.
And that's how they got the little food that they had. He was already sweating. His clothes were wet. You could tell this was a difficult journey. This is a journey that he made every Saturday. And we took them to Turbo and then let them out at the highway where they went on into the village. The lady who was interviewing the child wrote me and said, "What else have you found out about Alex? We would like to help." So this is a large family. They got together, they bought land for Alex's family, enough that they could have a home and a crop. The family in the U.S. built a house, bought furniture. They have bunk beds now, they have a place to sit, and we purchased a new wheelchair for this mother. And this family in America sponsored all 4 children, Alex and the 3 younger girls.
And I think for once, Alex is safe, because here he can get everything he wants. He can get food to eat. He has a place to sleep. And I think it is everything about life-changing.
Now Alex is in school year-round. He is doing very well. We can see his scores gradually moving up, and we have great hopes for Alex. He's a prince of a guy.
And the prayer has been always that next time Alex goes to an institution with his mother, maybe he'll be driving in his own vehicle. That is our dream.
My name is Alex Juma. When I grow up, I like to be a teacher so that I can teach good morals.
My name is Rispa Adhiambo. I would like to be a teacher when I grow up. Nilikuwa mdogo.
I was small, and my mother died.
She really doesn't have much memory of her mother. And soon after that, her father married another woman. And so Respa lived with the father and stepmother.
And I stayed 1 year at home. Then my father died. And when my father died, I was persecuted by my stepmother. She did not like me. She would yell at me with bad words and beat me. Finally, she threw all my clothes out and then burned them.
And at that point, the stepmother says, "I'm no longer taking care of Respa. She is not my child," and she kicked her out of the house. The Cinderella story is real in this village. Here is Respa, 12 years old, no place to go, no one to help her. And now her clothes have been burned. She has nothing.
I went from home to home, looking for a place to eat and sleep.
The problem is these people are so poor, they can't take on another child to feed. So they would let her stay with them 2 or 3 days, and then she would have to move to another home and stay maybe a week. And one day, one of the neighbors came to Davis and asked us to take Respa, and that's how we learned her story. At that time, we had no dormitory. We had no place for a child like this, and one of our American friends heard her story, and she said, "I'm going to build a dorm so Respa has a safe place to live."
Respa has a bright future, and if she continues with that spirit, believe me not, she's going to be one of the greatest ladies we have ever seen. We believe that. Yeah.
Being a teacher, I want to build my own school so that I can bring orphans and widows to my school, and also I want to make my own money so that I can earn a living.
Okay, Noah is center. Y'all good? 1, 2, 3.
My grandmother, Sadie, asked me one day if I wanted to help kids in this project in Africa.
I was looking for a little boy about Dylan's age. I wanted to help him understand what the world was about, to open his world views, to really understand loving your brother and sister. So I approached Dylan with the idea.
And I said, sure, why not? That'd probably help a lot of people.
My name is Alex Ochen. I would like to be a pilot.
Every day as I pass by the refrigerator, there's a picture of Alex, and next to the picture of Alex is a picture of Dylan. And I would stand in front of the picture of Alex and just imagine, what is his life like? What is he doing? What are his struggles? From the moment I stepped into the school grounds, there were hundreds and hundreds of children, and I am looking everywhere for Alex. I was working on sound this particular day and very focused on what I was doing, and the children were all lined up and getting ready to go in front of the camera. And as each child came up, they spoke about their hopes and dreams. And I turned around, and there was Alex right in front of me, and I knew it in a fraction of a second that that was him. I remember looking directly into the camera and saying, "Dylan, this is our Alex." I found out from Margaret and Davis that Alex's father is not in the picture. They don't know who he is. Alex's mother does not live with Alex in the village. She moved hundreds of miles away for work. We realized that Alex is being raised by his grandmother. And it was a surprise and delight that here I'm a grandmother of Dylan and she's the grandmother of Alex, two women meeting from across the world, both loving these boys. This is Dylan. When we were meeting, I noticed that Alex left and went inside, and he came out of this mud hut with a framed photo, his mother on one side and a picture of Dylan on the other side. That touched my heart in a deep way. Who's this? We have two boys who have never met each other, but yet there's a relationship established and built in need, respect, but most of all, love. Alex's grandmother has a small parcel of land. There are two mud huts and a few crops growing. When I saw the crops, I actually was pretty happy. Was a lot of greens and pumpkin, and there was good nutrition growing in the field. However, when we went over to the well and they opened up the well, it was full of cobwebs and it was obviously dry, and that's sad. No running water. And then when we walked into his home, it was so dark. No electricity, no windows. The only source of light was through the doorway, and it didn't even open completely. There was hardly any place to walk inside the home because there was a bunch of corn drying. But probably one of the saddest things was when I said, "Where does Alex sleep?"
Alex and Lala.
And I just stood there and thought, how does he sleep in that chair? How do they do anything inside of this mud hut? Okay, do you play football at school?
Yes.
Yes. It was sad. Dylan recorded this so that you could see it.
Anasema tena rekodi hiyo ndio uone.
Yes.
Hi, Alex. It's me, Dylan Schrock. I'm in 6th grade. I like to do a lot of cool things. I actually have a friend right across the street named Alex who I hang out with all the time, and whenever I play with him, it always reminds me of you, and it makes me feel really happy.
Watching these two young boys begin a relationship has probably been one of the most joyous experiences of my entire life. And I can see that Alex is being fed. He's getting an education, and he obviously knows that he's being loved and cared for. He gets the message, and that just brings such joy and peace in my heart. Come this way, there we go. I want you to know, can you interpret as we go? That you are loved, cared for, very much in America. And I hope one day that Dylan can come here and meet you. My prayers are with you always. Thank you. That's what I do for Dylan. Are the tears of joy? Can you ask him if these are tears of happiness? I'm cry too. I cry too. You work hard, okay? You study hard. You are so special. You're okay. I can't do anymore.
I just like being able to help out because like maybe someone else could use this money more and literally be able to buy food and things that will help them out with their life. And that really actually makes me pretty happy to think that someone else could live a happy life.
Even though I've been out here all these years, I still can't quite understand the situations they're in. It's beyond comprehension for an American.
We were crying so much for our children because it's very difficult for our children to get an education.
But the joy that they have, and the hope that they have, and the trust that they have in God has taught me a lot.
I want to say to all of you, continue with the good heart you have. Help me to finish.
The thing that I would like to say is thank you for all the work you have done for me. I hope you will continue. I am very, very happy and so thankful.
For myself, I want to greet you and give you thanks for all you have done for me since I have come to Heritage. that I've been able to get a good education.
The stories that we hear in Heritage Academy, they are all possible because of what they are doing. Don't get tired of assisting these children.
When I grow up, I hope that I can somehow still do something that will help out with this project.
When you sponsor a child, your money is going to that child. Every person in the U.S. is a volunteer. We have almost no overhead in the U.S., and we now have over 450 children sponsored. We still have 200 not sponsored, but day by day, the Lord is providing as He touches hearts. It is God's love that is changing all of us.